welcome back to another episode of Just 5 Minutes. On this one, we're going to have a look, or a little chat, a fireside chat about low-code environments. So, low-code, no-code, maybe a little bit of code. So these environments have been around, well, as far as I can remember, in some shape, way, or form. But the low-code movement, in air quotes, seems to have, it's not gone away. In fact, it seems to have got stronger and stronger. Disclaimer, I work for a company that one of the products is a low-code development environment. And I must admit, how that was pushed for a project that I worked on briefly, I might add, was quite amazing. And even though there's constraints, of course, with these things, there's two that jump out for me this week anyway. They're actually quite interesting. They're very similar, but two different implementations, how they're being used. One is called Bubble.io. I'll put the links in the show notes anyway. And really, again, there's a few of these. I think Webflow is one that jumps out that I've used over the last year or so. There's been lots of others years ago that I've used as well. But Bubble.io, it's really, again, it's that environment. And again, there's Airtable. I think that's another big one that's jumped out. But they've essentially got the similar feel where they can have lots of plugins, etc. But the whole point is you're visually designing, HTML. I mean, some of them deploy not just on HTML, obviously, on the browser, but as, desktop apps, Electron apps, or everything in between, really. But they have usually they've got their own data store type stuff, or where you can integrate with something like Firebase or something like that. I haven't really got into Bubble.io enough to know that yet, but it's certainly got that same feel. You can design workflows, again, user interfaces with data, and it produces X, deployment of either a web app or desktop app or whatever it might be. So they're very good. I mean, crikey, the amount of stuff that's really, in there is just, absolutely incredible. So, there's a heap basically of this that's possible, and there's a lot of strengths there, especially if you want a rapid prototype or even a rapid build an application. There's no denying that you can build full-on applications with these things. So Bubble.io is one. The other one that I've been experimenting with, which again from a mobile deployment is, I've used Ionic over the years and Xamarin, and I'm comfortable with those environments. But obviously, there's a lot of boilerplate stuff that you have to do. There's a service called draftbit.com. Again, I'll put the links in the show notes. This looks really cool, actually. Again, very similar feel. It's a browser-based sort of UI drag drop environment. You can add a bit of code, etc. You can do this. Again, it's got data that you can connect to, but again, at the moment, I believe they've got the ability to connect to a REST API, which is fine. Apparently, they've got things like GraphQL coming, Airtable, Firebase, and probably others by the looks of it. But the whole point is this is creating, it's letting you visually design your app, of course. But the deployment side is essentially a native app, and it looks really cool. It's got a bit like when I've used Ionic. You've got a little shell app, if you like, that you can load up and see what you're working on in the browser environment, and showing those directly on your phone for a preview. But then you've got the whole publish cycle going into stores and all the rest of it. So it's quite incredible. I think the Draftbit and Bubble.io for the other side of the fence, if you like, they're very clean and well thought out. A lot of work's obviously gone into them. So they're the things at the moment. Is that low code environment. I think it's always exciting to see these and see how far you can really push them, and where the bottlenecks are, or where the constraints really hold you back. But so far, it's really worth a look. So that's what I've got on this time around on Just 5 Minutes. I hope you enjoy.